So, hi guys, I'm James and welcome to Dublin Private Tour, and I'm here just to talk to you about the best ways to get around Dublin city centre, as in terms of transport and how to make your way around the city centre. So first thing to say to you, to make very clear, very important, Dublin city centre is quite small relative to other cities around the world, particularly capital cities. It's actually very small. So it's a small city in terms of size, so it's very easy to get around. It's very compact, and the best way, and I'm going to flip around here, we are currently, sorry, just before I start, we're currently outside the entrance of Trinity College, which to some people in the heart of Dublin City, this is the entrance with the blue clock there, you can see, and there's a brown door behind the green bus. That is Trinity College, a little bit further out. So we're pretty much in the heart of the city centre of Dublin, and all the main attractions here are very easy to get to. But the best way to get to, really, as long as you're in a good physical state, is to walk. If you're comfortable walking, Dublin is a very walkable city and very easy to get around to all the main attractions from the city centre. So for example, we're in the pretty much middle of the city centre here. If you want to get to Grafton Street, which is shopping and live music busking, well, we are approximately, I'd say, no more than 100 metres, 100 yards away from Grafton Street from here. Then at the end of Grafton Street, which is about a 5-minute walk to the end, you're at Stephen's Green, which is a shopping centre, but it's also a park, which is where people tend to go for people watching. Dublin Castle, which is where somebody will more than likely visit when they're here, and Dublin Gardens to the back, which is very pretty. Well, that is maximum 10-minute walk away from Trinity College entrance. And Christ Church, so we're going to talk about the two cathedrals here, Christ Church Cathedral. But Christ Church Cathedral from here would be maximum 15 minutes walk, and it's just actually a straight walk in the opposite direction to Trinity College. So if you walked out Trinity College entrance, you continue walking straight. And St. Patrick's Cathedral is from here maximum 20 minutes walk. So and the River Liffey, which is the centre point of the city in terms of moving from south side to north side, is about 5-minute walk. The Spire, which is a meeting point, the Millennium Spire it's called, from here it's about 10-minute walk. The General Post Office, which is historically very important, is actually outside the entrance of the Spire. It's about 10-minute walk. So pretty much most of your main attractions, like Temple Bar as well, the area where a lot of people socialise, where a lot of the tourists actually socialise. Well, Temple Bar from here is about 5-minute walk to get to, maximum 5-minute walk. So you're very centrally located here in Dublin City. Everything, all the main attractions are quite close. Guinness Storehouse, that's another one while we're talking about. I think I'm sure everybody will visit at some stage. To get to the Guinness Storehouse, I just checked it actually before I did the video, to be exact, on Google Maps, and it gave me a 30-minute walk, and it said by public transport it was 22 minutes. So your other options, if you're not walking, are to take a taxi. So Dublin is quite a lot of one-way system, so it's not probably the easiest city from the perspective of getting around by taxis. It's very much it's not really a car-orientated city. It's actually very much today pedestrian friendly, cycle friendly. Well, it's becoming more cycle friendly, and it's very much promoted on getting buses and public transport like Tram around the city, and actually that's really to accommodate those who live outside the city. So we see lots of buses passing us here. You can get a bus actually just across the road from where I'm standing here, which will bring you to the Guinness Storehouse. The journey itself on the bus is about 10 minutes, but you probably have to wait probably 5 minutes to 10 minutes before the bus arrives, and then it's about a 5-minute walk to the Guinness Storehouse. And the bus, if you're getting to the Guinness Storehouse from Trinity College entrance, is 123. Obviously all this information will also be available on Google Maps. But the bus and the trams themselves, they're more suitable for people who are going outside the city centre. So if you're in the suburbs or staying in the suburbs outside the city, then I would definitely use buses and tram, the Lewis tram, which you might see passing us in very soon, as it tends to pass this direction. And the bus is generally on your good route, every kind of 10 minutes, and the tram tends to be every kind of 5 minutes at least. That's an approximate time frame. Taxis though, you can get taxis pretty much everywhere. You can see actually, for example, just right on cue, there's 4 taxis in a row in front of this yellow bus, and there's actually 2 just behind. You can pull them in off the street. There are a couple of taxi ranks. Going to turn around here to see this guy parked here. It's going to go. That's a taxi rank there. There's actually another taxi rank just around the corner. You might be able to see Starbucks and beyond the tree in the distance. There's a taxi rank in there. If you're looking to get taxi and you don't want to have to pull up off the street, the best app to use is Free Now. It's all one word, free, F-R-E-E, now. So F-R-E-E-N-O-W, Free Now. Okay, you can download the app when you're here. Are things like Uber and the equivalents to Uber in Ireland generally are taxis, just to be aware. There's no reduction in price that you're going to get from an Uber that you might be able to get a reduced price elsewhere. They actually are taxis in effect here. But you can, obviously take an Uber as well if you online and book that online yourself. Anytime you are using a taxi and you haven't prepaid, so if you're say pulling a taxi off the street and getting into one, they should have meters. Okay, so they should have a meter when you come in, and the price will be based on distance and time. So if you go into a taxi and the guy, all the licensed taxi drivers will have meters. Well, if they have it off and you haven't prepaid, well, I would question that and ensure that they do that, or maybe even I would possibly think about getting out of the taxi because that maybe is not a licensed driver. So just be conscious of that. All taxis here, if they're not prepaid, are metered, and you pay obviously based on the distance that you travel and the time that it takes. But sometimes when traffic is bad, taxis and the transport you take would actually take you longer than it would to actually walk to locations. So if you're feeling energetic and comfortable walking, that would be my preferable choice in every situation. There is also the train, which we call the DART, D-A-R-T, which is short for Dublin Area Rapid Transport, which feeds some of the suburbs and the coastline to the city centre. We're about 10-minute walk away from the DART station here. The nearest DART station to Trinity College is Pearse Street, P-E-A-R-S-E, Pearse Street. But that's really, again, for those people who need to get outside the city, or if they're outside the city coming into the city centre. And again, that's what I would advise for using the buses and for using the trams. Now the tram, in terms of payment, you pay at the stop. There is a payment station at each stop, and if you are worried about how to use it and how it works, it should take cash, coins, notes and card machine. There's normally about 2 different payment stations at every stop, and they're different zones, and you just have to find out on the screen which zone you're in, and you'll notice that by which location you're going to. So I'm sure when you're getting on the tram, you're going to know where you're going to, so you'll be able to work out what zone, and then you pay single or return, adult or child, or whatever the case may be. But the bus situation is slightly more complicated, so the system here is to try and ensure that we have a quick bus system and it doesn't get delayed. And unfortunately we don't have, at this moment in time, it is the intention, but we don't have a bus system that is able to cater for credit cards. So you can't pay by your card, not possible. So you have to pay by coins. It won't take notes either. So if you're taking the bus, you need to use coins, so you need to have change. So it's an important consideration to make if you're using the bus in Dublin. You can buy a card, which is not like a credit card, a elite card, which is like a transport card. There's some that cater for 48 hours, 72 hours, some that cater for a week. You can buy them in most convenience stores or buy them online, and you get and then what you'll find, a lot of local people use them because they're reduced price if you're using more, the more journeys you take with them. So they're very useful if you're using the public transport a lot. But if you're not using public transport a lot and only intend to use it on 1 or 2 different occasions, I wouldn't go with the Leap transport card. I don't think it's beneficial for you then. That's a tram, by the way, just passing it there. So the buses, just to say to you again, if you are using them, you need to have change, and exact change as well. So if you do have, let's say, it's generally the general journey, most journeys will cost you €2.60. €2.60 on a bus. That's cash. If you have €3, for example, you don't get the change. You just get a ticket given to you by the bus driver when you get on the bus. And generally most tram journeys are in the region of €2 to €3 for a single journey. Okay, so you shouldn't be paying over more than €3 for public transport when you're in Dublin City. But as I said to you, above all else, walk if you can. Dublin City Centre, and I'm just talking about the city centre itself. So small, compact, all the main attractions are all close by, and it's a pretty easy location to walk. And another thing as well, obviously traffic for most of you guys will be coming from the opposite direction, because we drive on the left hand side of the road here. You will see it a lot of, I'm going just a bit close here, a lot of the pedestrian lights, signs saying look left or look right. So on the other side it says look right there, the girl is standing in this case. On this side it's look left, as you can see there. Okay, so give you an idea where you need to look before you cross the lights. Just on public transport, on pedestrian lights, Irish people pay absolutely no attention to the red lights for pedestrians. Okay, so the simple fact is that you don't get in trouble if you cross on a red pedestrian light here. There's no real enforcement of law with jaywalking. So you are okay to walk. You're not going to get in trouble on a red pedestrian light, but please make sure you know where the traffic is coming from. It's super important, and always look both ways, because cyclists in the city can often come from both directions. Okay, so be aware of that. But don't walk in front of a car, or don't walk in front of a cyclist. That's not very clever. And it will definitely shorten your trip in time, which is better walk in front of a bus or walk in front of a tram. Those things you need to be very conscious of. So don't just follow the local who's walking in front. Be fully aware before you cross, if you are crossing the street, where the traffic is coming from. Okay, obviously the green lights, if you want to wait, you're totally within your right to do that, and fire ahead and continue that. But that's funny actually, and we do joke as tour guides in Dublin, how do you know a tourist in Dublin at a pedestrian light? They're the only people who wait for the lights to change. So, but obviously different countries, different laws, different interpretations, different things, different norms, you might say. Anyway, just to finish up, my name's James. Dublin Private Tour is my company. I specialise giving private tours in Dublin, sightseeing tours, and I do kind of like culture tours as well, like hidden history tour. We do a tour of just purely about Dublin culture, to learn all the unique things about Dublin City and the people and the culture. And then we do different things like recreational tours, like Guinness. We do a tour of the city, which is all about Guinness actually, and then includes a private tour inside Guinness Storehouse, which the Guinness company do not offer you there. And then we offer other tours as well, like there's a tour where we do city tour, which includes actually learning how to pour a pint of Guinness in a real authentic Victorian pub dating back to 1800s with full-time bartenders. Really cool fun tour that. Anyway, you can find all that stuff on dublinprivatetour.com, so look me up, dublinprivatetour.com. Feel free to subscribe to this channel, YouTube channel or TikTok. Feel free to like the video. That's just Dublin Private Tour for that. You'll find Instagram also Dublin Private Tour. Just set that up recently, and hopefully I might see some of you guys on a tour soon, and hopefully you'll be able to navigate your way around the city safely. Okay, so it's James, Dublin Private Tour. Chat to you soon. Bye bye.